I know a lot of you struggled with yesterday's assignment, which is normal. I've been giving that worksheet for years and everyone hates that one. Um, so what I want to do today is we're going to do this do now, see how you do, and then I'm slowly going to go over that assignment so you guys can see how I attack the questions. And then what we'll do after that is I'm going to give you 4 or 5, I can't remember, extra practice ones that are similar. So what I want you guys to do for now is take a look at these 3 do nows, see if you can do them. So pause me, give them a try, and then we'll see if you get them right. Okay, so now I'm hoping you pause me, and let's give these a try and see if you got them. So the first thing I'm going to do here is drop the 2x down in front. Then I have log 100. Now, again, with these, you have to remember the base is 10, right? So I'm going to do it over here to the side. That means I have log base 10, 100. What would that be equal to? So 10 to the x equals 100. So I'm hoping you're saying, hey, that's the number 2. So this right here is the same thing as the number 2. So in simplest form, number 1 comes out to be 4x. So that's the first do now. All right, the second do now. It's a natural log. It's division. Division can turn into subtraction. So I got that. Now, log of 1, hope you guys are used to that. That's going to be 0 minus 5, natural log of e. And once again, what is the natural log of e? That's right, it's 1. So that just comes out to be 0 minus 5, which, this time I'll remember to write the negative. We have negative 5. And finally, the third one, I'm going to take a look at this. Now, they're both natural logs. And we want to see what we can do here in this sucker. Actually, there's 2 ways of doing it. One way of doing it would be to bring him down. So that would equal negative 4 natural log of x. Bring this one down. Check it out. Negative 4 natural log of x plus positive 4 natural log of x. They just cancel each other out and you get 0. Now, or an alternative way of doing this, you could bring that exponent up. That becomes natural log of x to the negative 4 plus natural log of x to the 4th. Addition means the same thing as multiplication, and when you multiply, you add your exponents together. So that makes x to the 0. What is x to the 0 power? 1. And if you notice, I did it 2 different ways, but I both got 0. So that's a fun little do now with your exponent skills. These are the kind of skills you'll need in calculus. Pops up when you do derivatives and things, which is why I'm practicing it with you guys so much. All right, now what I'd like to do, remove my do now here, is go over the homework. What I did, instead of using the worksheet so you guys can see it better on the camera, I just wrote it out by hand. So this is the worksheet I asked you to do as your assignment yesterday and enter into Google Forms. And I'm just going to go through each one. All right. So in this one, first thing I'm going to do is look inside my parenthesis. Now, if you notice you have 8 raised to the log base 8. These guys are inverses of each other. So they cancel out. So they're just going to cancel each other out. Actually, I think it was a 1 on the worksheet. Not a 3. Just copy that. So those cancel. That leaves me with log radical 8. And since these cancel, the 1 drops down. Now, log of anything to a 1 is just 0. So that's the answer to 1A from the assignment. Okay, let's look at the next one. This one was 4e raised to the natural log of 4 over 2. So when I looked at this, what I see is 4e. That's the same thing as saying 1/2 natural log of 4. And then this exponent wants to come up. So it becomes 4e natural log of 4 to the 1/2 power. Now, back up here, see 8, log 8, they canceled. Same thing's going to happen here. Now, I couldn't cancel here because he's in the way. But once I raise that up, this exposes this guy hanging off. So I'm going to use a different marker here. These cancel. Leaves me with 4 times 4 to the 1/2 power. And the 1/2 power means what's the square root of 4? So the square root of 4 is 2. And so that answer is 8. So that answer is 0. And that answer is 8. So those are the answers to 1A and 1B, the two simplify question. Now we're going to work down on the solves. And there's a bunch of these. And I crossed one of them off. I'm not going to deal with inequalities with you guys. This is hard enough with equal signs. I'm just going to cut the inequalities. It's not essential. They're really rare. So I just usually do them to torture kids, but I'm not going to torture you in this one. So let's take a look at this one. Now, what jumps out at me is we have a 4 to the 2x here and a 4 to the x. This is what I'd call a quadratic in disguise. And what controls the question is always this guy. This is what your let statement's always going to be. So I'm going to let y equal 4 to the x. And the way you want to think about this guy is if I were to rewrite this question, it would be 4 to the x squared minus 4 to the x. That's supposed to be a minus. Fix that. Minus 4 to the x minus 6 equals 0. And then every time we see 4 to the x now, I'm going to substitute y. This becomes y squared minus y minus 6 equals 0. So now I factor this because it's just a plain old quadratic. Y minus 3, y plus 2. Right? And then this gives me y equals 3, y equals negative 2. All right, now at this point, we got to bring back in our original. We can't keep going with the y's. So let's slide this up. Right here becomes 4 to the x equals 3. This one's 4 to the x equals negative 2. Now, there's no way for an exponential function to equal negative 2, or any negative, or 0, right? And the reason why is if you graph an exponential equation, it looks like that. It's always positive and it doesn't hit the x-axis. That's why I'm rejecting him. So now I'm just going to bring this over here. We're left over with 4 to the x equals 3. And now to solve this, anytime there's an x in the exponent, we're going to log it. So I'm going to do log 4 to the x equals log 3. Using the exponent rule, this falls down in front. And then I'm just going to divide by log 4. So this is log 3 over log 4. So this is the answer to the question. Now, what you can do, depending on if you go when you go to college, what your professors would mind, this is always acceptable. Some professors will accept this written as, if you unbend it, log base 4 3 equals x. So depending on what professor you have, sometimes they'll accept that as an answer as well. This is the more universal accepted thing, but this is also acceptable from time to time. So that was 2A. How you guys doing? Now, I'm also going to scan my answer key in, not this one. I actually have it all done out on the one sheet, so you guys can print that out if you want to, so you have a hard copy of all this. All right, so now let's do the next page. So the next one you guys had to do, let me just get this set up, sorry about that, is 2B. which looks like this guy. Now this one's a little trickier. Right? To do, right? This is the same thing as saying 3 to the x times 3 squared. So now, what I want you guys to notice is this is going to be a quadratic in disguise. This is going to be 9 to the x minus 10 equals, that's 9. This would be 9 times 3 to the x. All right, now I'm going to subtract this over. This is 9 to the x minus 9 times 3 to the x minus 10. Now, here's the key to this question. I'm going to bring back the last one for a minute. Back in this one, I said the one in the middle controls the y equals. See, I let y equals 4 to the x. Let's come back to this one now. Look at right here, 3 to the x. Can you make 9 from a power of 3? Sure we can. 9 can become 3 squared to the x minus 9 times 3 to the x minus 10 equals 0. So now check this out, guys. Actually, it's smarter to write it this way. I'm going to change that. I'm going to write this as, all right, remember I had this a second ago? I'll actually explain what I'm thinking. 9 can become 3 squared, but multiplication can be commutative. So what I'll do is, bring it up here. You can rewrite this as 3 to the x squared. This and this mean exactly the same thing. Minus 9 times 3 to the x minus 10 equals 0. Now the reason why I rewrote it that way is because my let statement now is going to let y equal 3 to the x, because this is always our y equals. And now we have it there as well. We have y squared minus 9y minus 10. So this was a very tricky question, but one worth seeing. And then it factors into y minus 10, y plus 1. So that makes y equals 10, y equals negative 1. All right, now at this stage, you got to bring back in your let statement. So we have 3 to the x equals 10, 3 to the x equals negative 1. And once again, 3 to the x cannot equal a negative, so I'm going to reject that one. And now I'm going to log this guy. So that becomes x log 3 equals log 10. Now, log 10. Let's see if I have another color here. This guy, right? What base does this have? This has a base of 10, right? So I'm going to draw a line here. So this here is log 10, 10. What would this become? Anytime the base and the number match, that's the number 1. So this is a 1. So I have x log 3 equals 1. I'm going to divide both sides by log 3. And there you go. So that was a nasty little question, but very doable and one worth seeing. You feeling stressed out? I hope not. Hey, look, I have a little surprise finger puppet for you. Hello, you can do it. Yes, you can. Yay. Right? I know you can't see me. This is my next best option. My lamb finger puppet. Whee! All right. Time to do the next question. Here we go. 2C. This one should feel a lot easier compared to that. All right. You're subtracting logs. You're subtracting logs. This becomes a division question. So I get log of x plus 1 over x minus 4 equals 3. Now, if you only have one log, this is a Ben question. What would my base be here? And I hope you're thinking, it's got to be 10. Okay. So it's going to be 10 cubed equals x plus 1 over x minus 4 minus 4. Okay, so this is 1,000, which I'm going to write over 1 equals x plus 1 over x minus 4. Now I'm going to cross multiply. So that's 1,000x minus 4,000 equals x plus 1. So I'm going to subtract over x. So that's 999x minus 4,000 equals 1. Add over the 4,000. I get 4,001. So x comes out to be 4,001 over 999. Now, something to keep in mind, I'm not going to circle it yet. Because it's a log question, I got to make sure that that fraction does not make a negative or a 0 here or here, which it doesn't. So that is the answer to the question. A lot easier than the last one. All right, 2D, very similar, different base. All right, subtraction means this is going to be a division question. So I write the natural log of x minus 5 all over 2x plus 1 equals 4. And just like last question, I'm going to bend this sucker. But because it's a natural log, my base this time is e. So when I write this, let me just move this up a little bit, this becomes e to the 4th equals x minus 5 over 2x plus 1. That over 1. I'm going to cross multiply. So this becomes 2e to the 4th x plus e to the 4th equals x minus 5. All right, now we're solving for x. So since we're solving for x, I'm going to get everything with x on one side, everything without x on the other. So I'm going to subtract this x over. Right? Minus x, and subtract e to the 4th to be over on the other side. Now, I'm going to bring this up here. Factor out x. I factor out x, I get 2e to the 4th minus 1 equals negative 5 minus e to the 4th, and then divide by that guy. All over 2e to the 4th minus 1. So that's the answer. Now, there is an alternative answer, or, right, if you had moved it the other way, so if you had subtracted this guy over here and moved him over, it gives you a little bit different of an answer. You would get positives in the numerator, which would be a plus, and these guys would change signs like that, which is also an acceptable answer. All right. Okay, a couple more of those homework questions. I hope you're understanding a little better, at least with these two. If you thought this one was nasty, because it is, we'll practice another one of those. Okay, last two homework questions. These are actually easier than they seem. In this one, we have this guy multiplied to this guy equals 0. Now, I'm going to bring back this page for a second, the last one. Right here, I have two things equal each other, or multiplied together, equaling 0. That means each of these pieces we set equal to 0 to get these numbers. So here, anytime you have two different things being multiplied together equaling 0, all you have to do is separate them, set it equal to 0. And I'm going to do this guy. 1 x squared equals 0. Now, I only have one log, so I'm going to bend this. Right? So there's 10. So that's 10 to the 0 equals 2x plus 5. Right? 10 to the 0 is 1. I'm going to subtract the 5 over. I get negative 4 equals 2x. So I'm getting negative 2. Right? Now, I'm not going to circle this yet. I'm going to make sure if I plug negative 2 in here, I don't get any zeros. If I put negative 2 in there, I get a 1. And I won't get a circle. Okay? Now I do this guy. Same deal. I'm going to make this a 10. And now I'm going to bend it. Okay? Now, when you bend it, I'm going to bring Ben in. Excuse me. There's Ben. Hello. Hello. Okay. That's my puppet Ben. that you guys never get to see. So here we go. 10 to the 0 equals 9x squared. So that's 1 equals 9x squared. Divide by 9. Right? Now, I'm going to square root this. So I get plus minus 1/3 equals x. Now let's figure out if both the positive and the negative work. Positive is definitely going to work. What about the negative? That will be positive. Yep, so they both work. So I circle that. So there are 3 answers to this question. -2, positive 1/3, and negative 1/3. And finally, this one looks scary, super easy. Check this out. These are both e to the 3x. So all I'm going to do is combine my terms. There's 2 of them here, 1 of them here. So this is 3e to the 3x equals 1. I'm going to divide by 3. E to the 3x equals 1/3. All right, now anytime there's an x in the exponent, you log it. And for this, we're going to use the natural log. Do the natural log e to the 3x equals the natural log of 1/3. Exponent log rules, the exponents fall in front. 3x natural log of e equals natural log of 1/3. Okay. What is the natural log of e? That's right, it's 1. So I get 3x equals this guy. Okay. And then I'm going to divide by 3. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways you can give me answers that are all correct. If I divide by 3, that makes this guy. Right? So that's an acceptable answer. Another equivalent answer would be 1/3 natural log of this guy. Or, check this out now. This would be the same as 1/3 times the natural log of 1 minus the natural log of 3. Using right, division can change into subtraction. What is the natural log of 1? That's right, it's 0. So 0 minus this guy would make that guy, right? So this would be another acceptable answer, right? You could also write it like this, right? So believe it or not, you guys, a couple different things are acceptable here. What's important about knowing this is if you're taking a multiple choice test, you would have to know that these 3 are equivalent. So if this is like the AP next year in the multiple choice section, and you got this as an answer, they may not have that written there. They might have one of these 2. So it's important to know that this can be converted into that, and then down to this guy. All right, so that was a very tricky sheet that went through a lot of different rules and exponent and log rules as well. So what I want you guys to do tonight is practice some more. And these are the practice questions I'd like you to do tonight. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here so you can see them all. I'm going to post this worksheet. I'm going to have it up so it's not like you have to copy this down. You can if you want, if you don't want to print it out. There are 5 questions, all solve exactly. The 5 questions are e to the 2x minus 2 times e to the x minus 8 equals 0. The second question is 16 to the x minus 8 times 4 to the x plus 15 equals 0. The third question is 8 to the x equals 11. The fourth question is natural log, in parentheses, x plus 3, minus natural log, in parentheses, x plus 2, equals 5. And the last one, number 5, is log base 2, in parentheses, x squared plus 8, equals log base 2x plus log base 2, 6. So try to do these, solve these exactly. Again, I'm going to scan this in as well and stick that up there. And I hope you guys enjoyed Little Finger Puppet today, as well as the appearance of my vlog then. Hello. Hello. All right, guys. Enjoy. I miss seeing you all.